And we are live. Hello and welcome to episode 29 of the Gaming Perspective podcast. It's another week, and lo and behold, we have prices for next generation hardware. Feels weird. But it's not the weirdest thing that's happened this week, so we're going to get right into that. But first, let's introduce the panel that will be joining us tonight. As always, joining me from Windows Central, Android Central, and iMore, Mr. Samuel Tolbert.
Hey, it is good to be here. I'm glad we finally have something to actually talk about this week. I'm sorry, guys, but like this whole song and dance routine has just been dragged out so much. I'm like, thank the Lord something leaked. Thank the Lord we're here, because if we were getting into October and we didn't have info, I was going to throw the towel down. I was just going to throw it down.
I figured I was going to go fully gray before we got prices at the rate it was going.
All right.
And also introducing from the sunny lands of Florida and the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, Mr. Eric Jackson.
What's going on, guys? And I was telling Ellen and Sam, it's not too sunny right now, man. It's been pouring, like 100% chance rain. We have like bands on top of us and everything else. So it's just one of those days, man.
We've been getting a little rain. I know we're just north of you here in SC. We've been getting a little rain as well. But I mean, hey, I imagine that's good for driving the clickers down. Considering
keep them off the beat.
they can't pick up the smell. And also joining us for the first time, everyone's favorite asshole on Twitter, Alcoholicost, or the Drunk Cat, as he's better known. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Good. You guys can just call me Al. And yes, I am an asshole.
I figured I'd throw that in there, but I figure everyone already knows. So
yes,
I have a great guest list of assholes I've had on this show. So
wow,
that I don't think Miles would appreciate that, Sam, but I'm gonna send him that clip anyway.
No, I know Miles. He'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm Nicholas Downey. You can follow me on Twitter at Undead3XVI and tell me to go kill myself because I write articles. Love you guys over at 505 Games. So we're gonna get right in. We're gonna get right into this right now because this is a great topic right now. So after saying it was physically impossible for Control to be upgraded to the Ultimate Edition, somehow someone at Remedy decided to sneaky beaky themselves into a room somewhere and accidentally upgrade owners from their deluxe editions to the Ultimate Editions. So a couple of threads started on Reddit and Reset Era over about a 24-hour period of people being like, hey, I have the Ultimate Edition now, or hey, when I boot up my Digital Deluxe, I get the Ultimate Edition showing up. And then all of a sudden that stopped because 505 Games and Remedy went, nope, don't be doing that. So it hit the news pretty hard. And so far, nobody has said anything publicly from Remedy or 505 Games on this. So what do you guys think? This has to be the best foot in the mouth I've ever seen ever. Like
it's one of the best. Let's not put the blame on Remedy, all right?
Yeah,
no. 505.
Yeah.
I don't usually do this, but yeah, Al is correct. Like, I know people at Remedy who are not happy about this at all in any way, shape, or form. Like, this is 100% just 505.
And the really crazy thing is when people looked at the files that they actually had in the new Ultimate Edition, it's exactly what the poor bastards had that they bought when they bought the Season Pass edition. They didn't get anything new.
Yep.
And I'm like, what the hell? Why couldn't they just let those guys like transfer right over?
Right.
And you know what
the money grab.
You know what the painful thing is? Remedy is the kind of studio where if they had just talked with 505, or maybe they tried and 505 didn't listen, I don't know. If they had just put out a message saying, hey, Control didn't sell super well, guys, so if you buy the Season Pass, we'll give you the upgrade, but otherwise you need to buy the new game. I honestly think most people would have been okay with it. It's not the fact that I want a free upgrade, 1-1. It's the fact that you didn't give us any option. There is literally no way. That's my problem here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
people they should have been upfront. They should have said, "Hey, at one point, maybe we won't let you like don't buy the season pass. Maybe not have that as an option yet. If you're going to just going to release an edition that has everything in it anyway, don't even release the season pass. Why are you like shortchanging these people?" 505, like this is like the third or fourth thing that they've done a really crappy, or should I just say shitty thing? I don't know. Nick, can we swear on this podcast?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
Let it fly.
YouTube loves to
All right.
demonetize the hell out of me, so
All right.
swearing is totally permitted.
So Epic Game Store, right? Epic Game Store got Metro Exodus exclusivity. Everyone was giving 4A games a hard time. Guess who their publisher is? 505 Games, Deep Silver and 505. So we got that. They got the Zombie Army early. Now they're gonna do Control Dirty.
Mhm.
It's terrible, man. These are great developers, man. These are great developers. Rebellion is awesome. Remedy is awesome. 4A is awesome. I just don't know.
At least Remedy is going with Epic for the next one, which, as say what you will about Epic, but I don't think we're going to get this kind of nonsense in terms of upgrades or whatever.
Yeah, well, maybe, but I don't know. I just think playing that fine line of like saying that you don't want to have a walled garden and then ending up with a walled garden of stuff that's only available on a platform is a walled garden. So Tim Sweeney just likes to, I don't know, spin crazy lies, but I like the Epic Game Store for the free games, and that's literally all I use it for. I will never give money to it. I'll never put a credit card information in there. I don't recommend anyone else who listens to this podcast do that either. Tencent is tied to the Epic Game Store in some capacity. I think they have like a 40% stake.
40 plus a bonus 8%.
Yeah, I work for the Department of Defense, and guess who is the number 2 cybersecurity awareness person? Name is Tencent. Believe it or not, China. Tencent is number 2 for cybersecurity awareness. You're not supposed to go on any sites associated with Tencent with a government facility computer. So take that with a grain of salt. You can say, "Oh, this asshole just works for the government." Well, whatever. What the hell do these guys that I work with know about video games? I'm the only asshole who talks about video games.
Honestly, it just makes me happy that less government work is getting done with you in a position. So that makes me personally
there you go.
very.
Yeah,
I think my favorite part of this so far is we're not even 10 minutes in and we're already shit talking Tencent. I love it.
Oh god, I hate Tencent, and they're just so bad, dude. They're just so bad. Everyone's like, "Oh, but they lead the mobile market." Oh, well, fuck the mobile market, dude. I just want to play a console and not have to worry about my fucking house information, my mortgage information being stolen by fucking some dude in China who's just jerking off over it. I don't know. It freaks me out, man. It freaks me out. It should freak everybody out. Anyways, moral of the story: fuck the Epic Game Store.
But yeah, to wind it back to 505 Games, it's kind of hilarious to me with them because I remember when 505 Games, the only game I remember them publishing was Payday 2. And they were a super small publisher, and now they just seem to have gotten way too big for their britches. I can remember E3 2018, they were the most aggressive. They're like, hey, we've got games. Pay attention to us, please, 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 please. And now all of a sudden they got a handful of games like Death Stranding on PC and all this stuff. And now all of a sudden they've decided they're the next Activision without the payroll. But yeah, it sucks. I have a friend that works at 505 Games, and I'm like, why do you guys suck? And he honestly doesn't have an answer.
Why do you guys suck?
But no, it sucks that this is the way they're going. And I admire people's optimism when it became people's copies got upgraded and they were like, maybe they're thinking about giving it us to free, and then they backtracked.
Immediately, man. To not even all right, well, those of you who saw it and got it, whatever. It's just
I think I saw a post on Reddit. It's the meme with the guy with the fishing rod. And he's got Control of the Ultimate Edition. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna be faster than that."
Yeah, exactly.
you know, that's the thing as well. You know, it was someone at Remedy who like flipped a switch to accidentally give it out.
Dude, they're lying, man. They're lying. Watch this.
Look, I'm gonna say it like this. This is probably the same employee that did with Rocket League to PlayStation with crossplay. It was like, we can't do this. Whoop.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Whoops,
And
I did it by accident.
And
And
it started off weird with Control. I didn't mean to cut you off, Nick. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, actually I was gonna bring that up. Go for it. Like like, does anyone remember the Control DLC roadmap?
Yeah.
They
Oh
released-
yeah.
Yeah. It's like it came out of like some weird like conference. Like it was
Yeah.
like in a
Like, oh,
plastic sleeve. Like, look at this bullshit.
Oh, you guys are like Alan Wake. Hey, we made that. Hey, let's throw that in there. We'll just tie Alan Wake in there somehow.
Yeah, it's
Throw
like
that
follow
in there.
along. I can just see them like with like an overhead projector. Like, okay, if you move down to section B, under PlayStation, you can see that we have all these different tiers that make no sense to any consumer. And it's like they're just doubling down. I'm like, and the thing I can't understand is like, I love Control. Control's a great game, but the world doesn't love Control.
Yeah.
And nobody paid attention to Control. And you're doubling down like all of a sudden the Ultimate Edition is going to bring them in. Whereas if you gave this to people who already owned it and you really did something great with it, now you have people who are going to talk about it again. And talk it up.
When
If you
Randy
made-
Pitchford
Okay,
is
go.
giving a free next-gen upgrade to Borderlands 3, and even Activision with that
Yo.
Bobby Kotick money is saying, yeah, you can pay a small fee to upgrade. When Activision and Randy Pitchford are making you look bad, maybe it's time to take a step back and reevaluate your life.
Yeah, exactly what Sam said with 2K today with the Borderlands thing. That's ridiculous, man.
Yep.
That's like I did not expect that from 2K. They're the ones who wanted to start $70 games next gen, and they're like, you know what? We'll do a free Borderlands upgrade. We'll make 505 look like absolute dog shit right now.
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm starting to feel like it's almost like other publishers are now like, hey, we can dogpile on 505 too now. Like everyone's just like, yep, free upgrade. Like when EA is doing it, I wrote about this. I said when EA is doing free limited time next generation upgrades, and you're not doing anything, and it's Control. This isn't a game where like when the Ultimate Edition was announced, people are like burning down buildings. This game didn't even chart on NPD at launch. Like this game did not burn the world to the ground to deserve this level of monetization. And it just kind of sucks that they teased the Alan Wake expansion, got all the money from that, and
that's what I was saying. Yeah.
And then announced the Ultimate. I would have more respect for them if they had said, hey, we're releasing the Ultimate Edition and you can get this Alan Wake expansion that's part of the Ultimate Edition, and also this is tied in next gen. But no, they got those Seasons Pass sales from all the Alan Wake fans like Sam, who already probably had the Seasons Pass.
Way to go, Sam.
Yep.
And
public schmuck one right here.
Yeah.
And then they just took the money and ran with it. And they're like, I would have been happier if they announced the Ultimate Edition and said nothing about it. But then they had to make that stupid blog post.
Oh God, it's so terrible.
It was just like, who wrote this?
I don't know.
Like,
what they should have done, my 2 cents. I mean, I did work advertising for 3 years of my adult career here. What they should have done is they should have saved it for next gen release. They should have shown the differences between last gen and this gen, and they should not have upcharged anybody. Because PC version of Control is a lot like PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a different animal than console version Red Dead Redemption 2 and console version Control.
Yeah,
30 frames per second Control is not what you're supposed to be looking like. You're supposed to be flying around at 60 frames a second or higher with all this craziness happening around you. It's insane. You're basically a superhero. It's like Infamous, but you're in an office building essentially. It's crazy. It's like the Matrix. And it's a fantastic game. But like when you pump it up to those stratospheric levels and you say this is what next gen is about, this is what the Control Ultimate Edition is, then you have people excited. If you just say, well, it's the same thing for the same platform and you can upgrade this version only, that's just leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Yep.
So, speaking of things that leave a bad taste in people's mouth, Ubisoft had an event this week.
Excellent
Wow,
segue.
that was
Excellent
a
segue.
distasteful segue. I'm bookmarking that one.
No, that was quite tasteful. I love it.
It's all right. Eve,
So,
Eve
before
would
we
allow it.
we have to talk about the statement, right? Like before we talk about
oh yeah, no, I want to tackle that first.
Oh,
so,
God.
so
Eve.
hold up. My only big grief is like I understand like try and make a statement that sounds legitimate and not super corporate is basically impossible. Unless he was like holding a puppy and it's like it came across like that South Park bit of sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's how it came across. And then them being like, "Oh no, we couldn't put that in front of the UB forward stream." It's like, I've done basic video editing before. I'm pretty sure you just go, "Whoop, there it is." So
you have the game director of the biggest release for your entire corporation responsible single-handedly for touching someone who he should not have touched.
Right.
How do you come off and not saying like, yeah, we fucked up. Can we move on and show the games? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, he was in a hard spot, but how they presented that was so terrible.
yeah.
And I loved Assassin's Creed Origins, and I really was looking forward to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but man, I really, really don't want to give him my money right now. Is that so terrible?
No, I get it. I'm kind of in a tough place where I love where they're going with that game and everything about it. And we'll talk about this a little later, but the fact that they're actually doing 4K 60 on the Series X is insane because UB games don't do well with high frame rates. So that's crazy to me. But at the same time, and I know they're a big company. Thousands of people who are innocent and just love their job worked on this game, right? And you did nothing wrong. But then you have these people in prominent positions who did. It's tough, but
it was like 6 or 7 prominent positions. That's like
exactly.
That's a lot of people.
Your chief creative officer, the vice president of editorial, the former head of HR, and that's just off the top of my head. Like I can
that
find
right there, gigantic red flag. If the HR person is in dirty, that's it, man. Get out of the company.
Yeah,
if you're working for Ubisoft and somehow watching this podcast right now on a Saturday night, get out of Ubisoft.
It's like I want them to do better. I want them to change from within. But the problem is, I don't see how that happens without Eve's gone. I really don't. Like I
was honestly expecting him to step down because there's a tie with him and someone else. I think one of his sons runs one of the studios, correct?
His son runs the studio. And, well, actually, I need to backtrack here because I'm burying the lead. His son graduated college, then immediately became head of studio. Okay. So
that's good. That's good trial basis there.
Hey, Alexa, how do you spell nepotism? But then it gets worse than that, where that studio is the one that had the whole Tom Clancy's Elite Squad disaster, where they had, hey, these terrorists are using a raised black fist on a white background.
That's right.
I sure hope that symbol doesn't represent anything in the real world. Like, I don't know. I know many people who work at Ubisoft, and I am very sympathetic to the fact that you have done nothing wrong. And I hope the company gets better. And some people have left. Like, some people have been sacked, some are gone, but they need to continue cleaning house. This isn't even remotely over. That's kind of my issue there. Like, I hope it gets better. I really do.
Well, I have another issue, and this is more a game-related issue. How do you release Prince of Persia looking like that? First of all, I want to tackle that.
Oh, man. Am I right?
Okay, like
terrible. That looked absolutely terrible.
It looks like someone took Prince of Persia, ported it to the PS3, and went, "Yeah, this works." Yeah.
Did they upload the Switch version? Like, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like, did they upload like a lower res version? Because like, if they're trying to pull that off as like a remaster, dude, the original looks better. I posted the pictures on my timeline.
So to be fair, it wasn't. It was an alpha build, and some images did come out today from a newer build that leaked, and it does look a lot better with like actual proper lighting and shadows. So I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying it looks a lot better.
Okay.
Also, I think another thing is this is being led by a smaller team. This is being led by, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, an Indian studio at Ubisoft, and then like two others in the region are supporting them. This is like,
oh, is it the same team? I'm sorry to interrupt. Is it the same team that did the side-scrolling Assassin's Creed, like the smaller games?
Yes.
I love those games. Those games are awesome.
Yeah, those games were awesome, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
They're very highly underrated, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's probably going to be a lot better than was shown. And again, COVID impacting gameplay and all that. Like it's
the time. The base game was awesome.
Oh yeah, no, it's a classic. It's a classic. Yeah. How many people skip school because of that game? Let's be real.
School, but
you skipped whatever it was. You skipped. So, but should you have shown it looking like that?
It's hard. Especially this year, especially after Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, and you can't compare it to that, obviously, because of the budget, etc. But people are used to seeing those look like remakes or remasters.
Yeah, that's
hard.
It's hard.
The problem is, sorry, Eric, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Sam.
I was just going to say the problem is people use the words remaster and remake interchangeably when they shouldn't, and the bar on remake has gone up. The bar on remake is like way up here now because we got Final Fantasy VII Remake. We've got Resident
Evil 2. Ooh, so good.
And hot take, I'm sorry if a lot of people didn't like it. I love Resident Evil 3 Remake. I do too. I love that game. I
love Resident Evil 3, yeah.
Yeah, that one, what is it? Blue Point's Shadow of the Colossus. Like, granted, that was a very simple remake, but gorgeous game.
It was a remake of probably the best game ever made. But that's just my personal opinion.
It's a remake. And then it looks like...
That's a hot take for you.
It looks like they're going to kill it again with Demon Souls, from what little we've seen so far. We've seen so far being another subject altogether. But, so when you use the word remake, I think people have expectations. I think that's kind of the problem. I think at the end of the day, though, this is probably going to end up being fine. It'll probably look a lot better, and it'll probably be like, oh, yeah, I remember why I like this game. Like, it'll be okay.
Yeah, I hope so. I definitely hope so because that's one of my favorite games. I was gonna say that same thing exactly, Sam. Is like the bar on remakes has been raised, so you can't come half-assed anymore. Yeah. You just can't. We have too many good examples of what a remake actually could be and should be.
Tony Hawk just came out, dude. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Like I think that's part of the reason why Prince of Persia looks so rough too. Is like people are literally playing Tony Hawk from Activision and looking at Prince of Persia like,
what the hell? And Tony Hawk is priced pretty competitively for what it is too.
Yeah. Which, by the way, from Activision, I have to go on a mini rant here, but how did we let Activision somehow become the best remake publisher this gen? I don't know what's going on with their proper studios and Call of Duty and crunching and grinding and all that, but they're killing it in the remake area. Yeah. Like Tony Hawk is doing great. Spyro, Vicarious
so good.
I don't like them personally, but I can't deny the Crash remakes were a huge success, and Crash 4 is happening because of them. So
I hate nothing more, or I should say, I love nothing more than trashing Crash Bandicoot on Twitter. But those games look awesome, and everybody loves them. So they must have done something right.
Right, like, again, so if Activision is embarrassing you, again, maybe take a step back.
Crazy.
Yeah, man.
All these bad guys in gaming are now like the heroes. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, and 505 trying to slide in and take a position. I got your back.
So I also want to talk about another game, Steep 2, or whatever the hell they're calling it now, which is like edgy, generic Ubisoft open world game number 16 with neon lights.
Yo, what happened there, right? Didn't everyone just want Steep 2, but with a better frame rate?
Yeah, I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, that game is Steep 2. They changed the name so it would sell better.
Right? What is it? Riders Republic or something?
Riders Republic. Yes,
it's not a better name. That's so terrible. It's confusing.
I literally, when I was typing it up, I had the press release. I counted the amount of times they used the word extreme sports and it was like 19 times. It was
extreme.
Like it was like if my 50-year-old uncle was trying to explain skateboarding to me.
Oh man.
We're kind of ragging on Ubisoft. I'm going off all the bad things first. Like I guess it looks okay, but like Steep was fun enough. I just think they could have done something more with it. I guess.
Steep was, I'll go on a limb. Steep was underrated. I enjoyed it. I didn't like the frame rate on consoles, but I did have. I think they gave it away for, you know how they were giving away PC games on Uplay for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Or like maybe like last year, they gave that away, and whew, boy, does that game really shines on PC. Not to be the PC master racist that I am, but I am. But that game deserves 60 frames a second, because controlling your guys and the downhill, like the skiing and the snowboarding aspect of it, were just really, really well done. I thought.
Yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
I think what always kills me with Ubisoft is like, I don't think in the past decade, and I'm being really loose with this, is I've never played a bad mechanical game from them. Like mechanically, their games are always good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they become very formulatic over the past. That was a terrible.
Oh man, you know,
their issue is homogenization, not mechanics. Yeah,
it was because there was. Oh man, Easy Allies talked about this on one of their podcasts maybe a couple months ago. There was literally a think tank where this one guy who was in charge, and he was part of the scandal, Sam. One of the guys at Ubisoft, it was his brainchild to meld all these genres of different games and make them basically the same game. He wanted to put the towers from Assassin's Creed into other games, and he basically turned Ghost Recon into like the whatever the hell Destiny like light it is, the new one, the new Ghost Recon. I don't know, it looked terrible, so I avoided it. He turned it from Wildlands into that, and I actually enjoyed Wildlands, but I looked at what the new one was and I did not like it.
I got Breakpoint for free from a friend of mine who worked on the game, and I put about 3 hours into it. I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Damn.
Serge Esco is the man you're talking about, the chief creative officer who
he made it was like a homogenous, everything's like the same thing. This represents the Ubisoft vision. God, they should have gotten rid of that dude right away.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's gone now. That's a mercy.
Yeah.
At least he's gone now, and hopefully that changes, because he's the reason that we don't have a King Arthur game being written by Mike Laidlaw, which that makes me want to tear my hair out.
How cool! Or a Splinter Cell game that they canceled after 9 months of pre-production that was almost ready to rock and roll into full production. He canceled it.
I have friends who saw that.
Thank you so much.
Who tested that game. Like it.
They better do something quick before Michael Ironside dies.
We can have. We can hope for the future. That's all I can say right now.
If Michael Ironside dies, Nick, I'm coming on this podcast to tell you I told you so. We need to make it before he dies.
He's
the best Sam Fisher.
He overcame cancer, and I'm very proud of him. Like, let's give him some props.
I know.
He's a tough old goat. But speaking
are we making sure that he's wearing a mask and staying safe?
Actually, I think he posted about saying that like he was. I actually think he made a social media post on something.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. But speaking of things that are poorly named, Gods and Monsters, or rather Immortals Phoenix Rising, which is the most PS2 JRPG name I've ever heard in my life.
It is by name. That game looks awesome. That game looks awesome, though.
That was my follow-up. The name sucks, and I'm mad it wasn't Gods and Monsters, but literally everyone I know, I have a colleague and several friends who played it in journalism, whatever, they all say it's fantastic. They all say, like, this game, it wears its influence on its sleeves. Okay, they clearly were studying Breath of the Wild, but
Breath of the Wild stole from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild plays well. Like, that's not a bad thing. And for all the inevitable whining, like, no, there's no breakable weapons, so you can shut up now.
Yes. Already, it's better than Breath of the Wild, you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea of a Greek mythology RPG where you're gathering godly powers and fighting mythical beasts, and also a Greek game where Hades isn't the villain. Is actually kind of cool and refreshing to see. Like that's actually a real concept.
Yeah.
So no, Gods and Monsters looks really good.
Character creator too, which is awesome. I always like that.
Yeah,
You got a character creator. And like each of the regions, like there's several regions for the map, and each region is themed after a god. So there's like a forge world for Hephaestus, but there's also like a lush paradise for Aphrodite, and then a stormy region for Zeus. Like that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm totally down with that.
I'm also down for you to be doing something outside of what we're typically seeing from them all the time now.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly. I'm 100% on board with this. I just don't know which one to buy it on, either Xbox or PS5.
Yeah. No, actually, I remember, I think they revealed that last year at E3, and that was like the one game that I walked away from the Ubisoft conference being like, I want to know more about
that. It
looks way different than everything else.
Oh, so fun fact, while we're crapping on Ubisoft's creative leads, Serge, since he's gone, this is a little how the sausage is made. Gods and Monsters was originally given 9 months of development time.
That's it?
9 months.
They wanted to kill it. Huh?
I usually
didn't trust that.
That's a shame. Yes, Serge did not like it. And they argued and argued and argued. And he was like, "Fine, you got 9 months." And then the delay last year happened, where you remember in like October. Was it September? Or no, it was October 2019 when Ubisoft was like, delay everything.
That's right. Everything was going to take a step back, yeah.
Then it got some more time as a result of that. And I'm glad it did, because it looks a lot better now. And it genuinely looks like a good game. So I'm glad it got that time. But that guy was bad. That guy was so bad.
I mean, if that game hits in December before Breath of the Wild 2 is even, a real thing, that the game's going to sell gangbusters on the Switch and probably other current gen consoles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm going to buy it. Like I said, man, that is awesome.
And Al, I saw you comment on it being like the Kid Icarus game that we should be getting or whatever.
Yeah, right. It looks like Kid Icarus, but like
Nintendo's got to be. You would think like Nintendo, where are you on this? Like you have a character.
They should have ported Kid Icarus Uprising to the Switch 2 years ago.
To be fair, dude, you can say they could have ported and then put anything in there to the Switch 2 years ago, and it works. Like they should have ported Wind Waker to the Switch 2 years ago. They should have ported Metroid Prime. It goes on and on and on and on. Like
no, I just can't wait, because I'm going to sit here and laugh my face off when Metroid Prime Trilogy's announced. They're direct ports only with no improvements, and you guys can only buy them on alternating Saturdays.
Oh god!
You're killing me, man. You're killing me.
They're only available for 5 hours. After that, you have to buy a piecemeal for $60 a piece.
Yep. But
for Metroid Prime, I won't be proud of myself, but for Metroid Prime, I'd do it.
I would too. I would too, which is a goddamn shame.
They're good games.
I can't say anything, because I was one of the ones that was like, this Mario collection's bullshit. And I'm like, but Mario Sunshine though.
Ooh, exactly. Yo, Nick, exactly. I was like, this is bullshit. The leak just happened for Super Mario 64 earlier this summer on the PC, and you could play it any resolution natively. Like it was native resolution. You could make a widescreen, ultra wide. It was fit. You could run it at 60 frames a second with like the touch of a button. But now Nintendo releases it like 4x3, and you're like, what? It's only 30 frames a second. Fuck this. And then I'm like, oh shit, but Sunshine. Oh shit. I love Mario Sunshine. You give me Mario Sunshine 16:9. I'm like, they got my $59. Let me just throw it right at them.
Yeah. Like I sat there, I was like, Mario Galaxy, I'll buy a Wii before I buy that again. Mario 64, I've got on N64. It's fine. That was like, oh, Mario Sunshine though. There's my $60 right there.
I think they knew that too, because people have been like clamoring to get that game, like on the Switch, because
a lot of people give it a bad rap, Eric, and dude, that game is awesome. It's hard. It is hard, but it's awesome.
I wonder why it just didn't hit for people like on the GameCube. I mean,
I love that game, man.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I love that when it came out. Problems and everything, like super hard bosses and the stupid level where you had to do the platforming from one like the big giant question mark blocks.
Oh,
Mhm.
In the trailer that initially announced the game, it like showed it off as like a highlight. That wasn't a highlight. That was like literally the worst level in the entire game.
that's like if you
have
did
to,
a
like-
Mario Kart preview with like Rainbow Road as the first thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, why are they using this as a highlight? This will scare people away if once they realize that that's like the worst fucking board. But that level was super hard, but everything else was so good in that game.
Mhm.
Yeah, and to polish off the Ubisoft event, we also saw Watch Dogs Legion, which still is the homogenous Ubisoft formula. But god damn it, I want to play it so bad because I want to be a little old lady tasering people.
Dude, that game looks better and better every time I see it. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't on board at the very, very initial reveal, and I loved Watch Dogs 2. But now that I'm seeing it more and more, man,
Same boat out.
looks awesome.
It's
now.
ambitious. It's ambitious. I'll say that. Like, if they can pull it off, that's pretty cool. They got Aiden Pierce there now. If you want him and his iconic
Generic white protagonist number 4. Cool.
And Sam, to answer your question, absolutely not. I do not want him anywhere near my game. I will still pre-order and not use him.
Yeah, recruit him just to kill him, just to get rid of him.
I saw the best part about that is when they released the YouTube trailer for it, and they were like, "Oh, we're bringing Aiden Pierce back." The top-rated YouTube comment was, "Why? Why would you bring him back?"
Everyone
That's
loved
awesome.
Marcus, right? I didn't play Watch Dogs 2, but everyone loves the protagonist of Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, because it actually felt like a real person. Aiden Pierce just felt like super angry. Like it's like that cousin you have that just spends way too much time in deep forums on Reddit. That's
God.
And you like go over to his house and he's like, "Hey, I saw this guy die on Reddit." He's that kind of protagonist.
Weird.
But I mean, hey, to its credit, Watch Dogs Legion is doing heavy ray tracing on console. They're doing it for like the reflections, the shadows. They're saying
I want to see that so
Yeah.
bad.
that works, then good for them. Which ray tracing is probably, I guess, a good segue into our next topic, Nick.
Sure. Hold on. Let me look. Oh yeah, I checked the list. I'm like ray tracing.
Squinting the eyes.
I need to get glasses. Yeah. So speaking of ray tracing, I guess Xbox did some things.
One or two.
So in a leak that I really, really like, on most days I don't mind Brad Sams as a journalist, but after I finished a like 2,300 word piece about the Xbox Series S and what I thought it might be able to do, after spending 3 days working on that, clicking on Twitter to see Brad Sams being like, "Hey, here's the Xbox Series S and what it can do," really pissed me off. Literally had to message my editor and went, "Yeah, just scrap the whole article. I can't salvage any of that." But yeah, so
That's amazing, though. That's amazing.
So Brad Sams leaked the Xbox Series S and was like, "This is the price point and everything else." And then Windows Central comes along. It started with a tweet that was deleted that somebody sent to me, and they're like, "Windows Central knows the price." I'm like, "What? How do you know?" They're like, "Oh, one of the editors posted a tweet and deleted it in 32 seconds. I'm like, "What?" And then lo and behold, 2 minutes later, an article comes out. The Xbox Series X is $499. So that
Way to
was
go, Sam.
hey, look. I woke up to all that nonsense and went right back to sleep. You go talk to Jez and Zach about that one. I had nothing.
I was laughing at Jez that day. I was like, "What? Are you serious?"
I woke up at 2 a.m. I'm just looking like everything going on. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I'll go back to bed. It's not happening.
This has literally been the timeline with everything. Like the PlayStation event getting announced at like 8 o'clock in the freaking morning.
Weird.
We've got Xbox Series S leaked at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I was just like, don't you people operate on normal hours? Like leak something at a relevant point. Leak something when I get to work or like normal times.
No, everyone's home.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Everyone's
man.
home all the time.
COVID times, dog. COVID times.
But I will say this. I will say this. Props to Xbox for. I'm gonna be real. Normally, they're not very good at responding to this kind of stuff. They usually take a long time, assuming they ever do, and they don't respond well to leaks or unexpected events, and they take a long time to turn things around. Props to them because they did not take long at all on this. They were like, well, this is what we're doing. We're doing it. Let's roll. And they got all the information out there over the next 2 days. They confirmed the price, the release date, $299 for the Series S, $499 for the Series X, both November 10. A bunch of games are getting bumped up, which doesn't happen, especially in 2020, which is weird, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 4K 60 on the X, November 10th, Yakuza 7, Yakuza Like a Dragon, that's getting bumped up to November 10 on the Xbox version. So Dirt 5, I think, I want to say Dirt 5 as well is getting bumped up, which is pretty cool. And then they're throwing in EA Play, or formerly EA Access, into Game Pass Ultimate. Like,
awesome.
That was a cool turnaround.
Oh, and Gears Tactics too on a tweet.
Yeah,
Gears Tactics. Yeah,
great.
They're just like, oh, this is really cool, but Gears Tactics November 10th. I'm like,
yeah. That's like the tweet right there, man. Gears Tactics is a big win right there because I mean, they don't have a flagship, first party game right now.
They actually do. They actually do have one first party, and honestly, even if you're not a strategy fan, give Gears Tactics a try. It's a good game. I think it actually is better than XCOM in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. I will agree.
I got to play that one.
So what do y'all feel? And I've talked with Nick very extensively about this. Very extensively.
The $299 Series S.
Yeah, what are you feeling about the price points? What are you feeling about $299 and then $499?
Okay. I have a side A and a side B. Almost like an audio cassette. Do you know what those are, Sam?
Yes, actually.
Yes, he collected them as collectibles in a Wolfenstein game once.
No.
He saw them in Back to the Future. So side A. All right, side A. Side A, I see Series S, $299. This is awesome. This is great. This is going to get the casual market. It has the same processor. That's great. It has a limited GPU. That's no big deal. It has a smaller hard drive. Okay, that's kind of a big deal. It's only digital. That's a really big deal. So my side B is for an all-digital casual machine at $300, it's kind of limiting what you can do with 500 gigabytes. Now, I do know firsthand that next generation games might be actually smaller install sizes. Yeah. Oh, spread that nugget out. Put those sweets out at alcoholic cost. No,
yeah, well, I mean, Insomniac has talked about that, dude. Insomniac has explained how difficult it was to get Marvel's Spider-Man running on a hard drive because of how much data you have to duplicate.
That's it. So bandwidth is going to increase like tenfold. Compression is going to increase by 5 times. So you can compress full native 4K up to 8K assets and full uncompressed audio down to something that was 50 to 75 gigs, down to something that might be 25 to 15 gigs, which is ridiculous. Yep. Again, these guys are going to let you guys know before, it'll be official before probably this podcast comes out. But I mean, like it's coming. But that's my side B. It's like if I was a consumer, I would just wait. If I only had $300 to spend, maybe I would spend it on that. But I have to see what Sony's going to do too for their digital. I don't know yet, and I'm not saying you should go to that route. I think that there's an incredible value with Game Pass. It is easily the best thing going for as far as any of these consoles go, which is basically between Sony and Microsoft, because Nintendo doesn't want to, their Nintendo Online thing is just Nintendo.
Yeah, I checked in on Nintendo Online last night and was laughing.
It's Super Nintendo game. It's Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games, and it's just like, okay,
and it's not. Yeah, and it's still like it's not super robust. I'm like,
They literally built those cartridges like tanks. I have all my original Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games, and I've barely cleaned them, and they all still work wonderfully. However, I have to buy a third-party device to play them, the analog SNES Pro, and but that's besides the point. But what I was gonna say is that's my second half of the coin. It's like it's a good investment if you can't spend more than $300. Yes, it's good, but it's kind of interesting that a lot of developers are also coming out now, like bad mouthing the memory issues and this. I think it's more of an issue of the hard drive space, even if they can get the compression down.
Mhm.
And then they're saying that backwards compatibility games with the Xbox One X wouldn't be backwards compatible. Like they'd be backwards compatible, but they wouldn't have the Xbox One X enhancements, which is kind of strange and like really confusing to say. But I know what that means, and as someone who uses backwards compatibility on my Xbox One X like all the time, I play SSX 3 like every week because I'm addicted to that game. It's a shame. It's like, man, you're really gonna just basically sort of they could come into the next generation, but it definitely wouldn't be something that you would want to play backwards compatibility games on. Like, I don't understand. So there's a big question mark there. That's where I stand. I like it. I like the price point. The pricing is good, but as someone who knows more about, like, we all do because we're all hardcore gamers, we are. I don't see the value there. As someone who owns the Xbox One X, that's probably swaying my decision. As someone who has a PC, that's probably swaying my decision. I still want a Series X though, so
yeah,
I don't know.
Well,
I'm just a weirdo.
I think if you have a One X, you're not supposed to get this. I think personally, if you have a One X, you're supposed to go to the Series X. That's the logic.
Yeah, I kind of feel like
the Series S is for it's for people who are on a One S, or and I think this is the bigger market. It's for people who never had an Xbox at all. I think that's who this is really for, because I've seen a lot of, this is anecdotal as all heck, but I've seen like a lot of people who had a PS4, but they're like, yeah, Halo and Gears and maybe Avowed looks cool for just $300. Like, I might get in on that. I have something I want to say about the hard drive space, because I think there's something a lot of people aren't taking into consideration. But first, Eric, I'm really curious, like, what you have to say, because I don't think we've really talked about this.
No, we haven't. And I haven't really said much, like, as far as Twitter goes, because I feel everybody's doing enough talking. Except for making jokes and stuff like that, because I just feel that's kind of needed at times. Just like, people chill out, take it easy. It's not that serious. But no, I mean, pricing wise, this is kind of where I felt it was going to fall, because I think I have not swayed on Series X being 600, and I didn't think it would come in pretty much anything less than that. I figured, based on what the One X was, and like you said, Sam, moving forward to the Series X, I kind of felt that's about where it would be in that price. And then when we started hearing about the S more and more and more, I said, it sounds like whatever's going to be, whether it has a drive in it or not, it's probably going to be, around that $300, $400 like range, right? So, but at $300, I think, that's coming from an S to that is definitely a value. I think that is a very attractive value. I kind of have like the side A, side B thing that Al has, but from a different stance. And it's something that will work itself out as time goes on. But I think it's going to be a thing that will probably be a bit of a mainstay for a while. And that's explaining the lack of a disk drive. And this is going to be Sony also with the all digital. Digital is moving forward, but it's not 100% where things are going. And you do have consumers who are still very much in the line of putting a disc in something in it, and that's it, or owning that physical media, even though it's really just a placeholder for having a license, these days. But they're still used to going, buying their game, coming home, popping it in. And I don't know if that's going to transfer immediately to everybody. Some people are like, okay, I get it. And then, like Al said, it's a twofold. It's going to be the disc thing and then the space thing. Right. And then again, it's future. It's kind of we know where the puck is going, but we're not there yet. And it's also a bandwidth thing, like with people in their home internet with data caps and what kind of like ISP they have, where are they near a hub or not near a hub? Are they out in the rural? If you're out in the rural and you don't really have like great internet, it's not going to be attractive to you at all to pick up a digital machine. Right. So those are things Microsoft and Sony have to figure out and work out. I get where they're thinking things are going to go, but it definitely feels like we're kind of back into the, what does it mean starting the gen and where is it going to be in 2 years? Because I think I've told you guys before, I had the conversation when people were going back and forth with the 900p, 1080p, and this and that, and my thought process was like, why the hell are we even talking about this on next gen console? They shouldn't have any issues, either one of them. No. And I said, and the only way to fix this is to have another console, right? So it kind of feels like what kind of things are going to pop up that are going to have to be settled later, type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the disk drive, Eric bringing up the disk drive, because both Microsoft and to the same extent Sony are going to have to deal with this. When Jez hired me for Windows Central, he explicitly, which was last year, a little over a year ago, it was July, he explicitly told me the top article that month, the month before I got hired, June 2019, was can the all-digital Xbox One S play disc?
Right.
So whenever you see clickbait articles out there, you need to understand people are looking for this stuff. Okay? Yeah. People are stupid. That's all there is to it. Like, I'm sorry, we serve a service. Like, people are punching it into Google. There's a reason it's out there. So that's a very long-winded way of saying you're absolutely right. In the short term, I don't think it lasts very long, but like for a year or two, they're going to have to explain that.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, that's what I said. It'll be something that'll work itself out. Because I remember like talking to Forte, and he said, and we have this information now, obviously, but how the Xbox One S all digital flew out the door over Black Friday when they dropped the price. And it flew out the door, but he said he had people coming back to him like, I can't put a disc in this thing. And he was like, no. And I'm sure people were overall okay because they only paid $150 for it.
Yeah.
I didn't go home and you'll figure it out for paying $150 for a console, but at the same time, like, oh.
But like you said, Eric, you got to think about the two big markets, right? Okay, and I'm not considering Asia, so I guess that's the first big market. But think North America and Europe. Most ISPs in America are either super speed,
right,
but limited downloads, like, so not unlimited, right? So you got fast download speed, but it's capped. And it's vice versa in Europe. You got unlimited data, but it's super slow. So it's like those two markets don't really blend well together. Yeah, you're gonna have the outliers like myself, but I pay out the ass for my fucking internet. You know, it sucks. I do like having fast internet, and I do like having no data caps, but I'm paying a shit ton of money. And assholes like me aren't the guys who's buying fucking consoles. But assholes like me are using this for a business account or whatever, you know? So unless people are ridiculous and just burning their money away like I am, like I do this because I have the extra money to do that. But not everybody in New Jersey can just spend like $190 on fucking internet a month. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like it's
what's the download for that?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But
yeah, like for context, for me, an all digital console is fine for me. Like I get give or take 150 down and like 20 up, and I pay about $58 a month unlimited for that. So
I get about a gig down and about a gig up.
Ooh, that's nice.
But I'm like, you heard what I pay for it though. It's awful.
Yeah,
it's awful.
Right. If I wanted to gig up a gig down, I'd be paying about $100 up here for unlimited. So up here, we're kind of ass backwards to you guys. Our internet data caps are unlimited, but our phone data caps are like piracy. If you want more than 5 gigs of data, you're paying like $150 for your phone bill a month.
Really?
Chris.
See, for whatever reason, the cell phone service in the States, well, I don't know where Eric is, but in New Jersey, it's dirt cheap. I have a cheaper phone plan than my internet plan, which is cheaper than my cable plan, which is messed up. You're right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, my cable plan's so expensive. I'm like, well, you don't pay for my crazy internet. But again, I am literally paying for a business line in my house because of video games and downloading and stuff, because I don't own physical media. It's a unique thing about me. And I know that's very unique. That's like a 5% maybe of gamers do this. But I was all digital for the Xbox One and the PS4 and the Switch since their infancy. So going into next gen, do I want the old digital consoles? No, I actually want the one with the physical media, just in case someone at work says, "Hey, I got this game," and I'll be like, "Hey, I never got to play that. Can you let me borrow that?" And they say, "Sure." And of course, Nick would be the asshole from my work. Jake, I'd be like, "Yo, Jake, let me borrow that fucking game, you asshole." But anyway,
that's exactly it, Al. And I think that's a big part of the market still. You have people who do that. They still trade in is still a thing, and people
And people are
And-
cognizant of their download and upload speeds. So digital only, even if Sam, they had like a huge hard drive, both of them, like 2 terabytes, say something ridiculous. That was like good for nowadays games. I still think it's a hard gamble because a lot of people have that. It's either going to be too slow or,
Yeah. No, I think it makes sense to offer the option. The option is fine, but like if it was the only thing, we'd be in trouble. We that would be no bueno. That would not be okay. I mean, I know whenever, I'm sure you guys are familiar with this. Whenever I get a code on PS4 for something I have to review, I roll my eyes because it's going to take that thing all day to download. I'm like,
man.
Yeah.
And I have great internet, and it takes forever still on mine. It sucks.
See, here's the part. I'm in South Florida, which is, it's some parts very urban, some parts very affluent, but you would think because of it is still a metropolis, so you would still have, really good internet, and fiber all over the place, right? And you don't. You really don't. It's very spotty at best. There's fiber is just not in many areas here, which is crazy. So, but to answer the other part of your question, Sam, like let's say, play the hypothetical. Let's say the Series S hit and it had a disk drive, right? And it was 300. I'd be like, that's
oh my god,
that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it
right?
would be insane.
Yeah, no, that would kill.
And I think it's still going to do very well, but I think there's going to be people who may go, hell yeah, and then they're going to run and go, well, wait, I didn't realize I can't put any disc in.
Me and you talked about that earlier in the week, Eric, because I've seen a lot of hand wringing online about, the naming's confusing and consumers are stupid.
Yeah, right.
That's
so ridiculous.
I got an iPhone from work. It's a work iPhone. It's an iPhone 10 something. I don't know which one it is. It's one of the iPhones. It takes calls from customers that are assholes to me, and that's all I needed to do.
Yes.
But
It's
the thing,
the iPhone 10 asshole edition.
yeah, basically. And like what I really don't understand is like the hardcore gaming audience's obsession about worrying about grandma buying Jimmy an Xbox or a PlayStation.
It doesn't happen in reality.
It's always Grandma and Jimmy.
No.
It's never Uncle Jack and
It's not real.
Look. The thing is the one thing that faces both the PlayStation Digital and the Xbox Series S is going to be asshole employees at GameStops telling them not to buy it. I literally went into my EB Games, which is full of really genuinely great people, and I inquired about Xbox All Access for the Xbox Series S, and they were like, "You don't want to buy that. It doesn't have a disc tray. You can't trade in physical media. Why would you want to do that?"
It's more money out of
every
their
reason in the world to push that narrative right now.
I don't know if you saw this. The day the Xbox Series S was announced, GameStop stock plummeted. Dead serious.
Yeah, it's true.
But my little tangent about the hard drive space is game sizes are going to drop. Al, you're correct about that. But people need to understand your space isn't going to be great on any of these consoles. None of them are going to be fantastic, to be clear, because on the Series S, you got half a terabyte. You got 512 gigs. On the PS5, both versions, you've got 825 gigs.
Usable.
And on the Series,
and it's not even usable. Actually, it's like 725 usable.
Yeah, it's like 700 something usable.
That's crazy.
That goes for all of these. None of these are taking the operating system into account. And on the Series X, you do have a terabyte. But the thing is, those expansion cards on the Series X and the Series S are going to be expensive. That's all there is to it. They're high quality SSDs. On the PS5, spoiler alert, there ain't one that exists yet. You aren't going to be able to upgrade your space at launch. I'm just going to go break a warning and pick and choose. And for the love of God, don't install Warzone.
And Cerny, and to his credit, Cerny was like, "Oh well, there'd be something announced probably closer to launch about that has the 5,000 megabyte read write." And I'm like, looking at it now, a week now, no, one came out. You know how much it was for a terabyte? It was like $260, something like that. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I'll put it on my Twitter for people who are following. It was atrocious. And the Xbox expansions, like you said, Sam, they were like $200 for a terabyte.
And if I could interject real quick, this is where like some of the PC, the funny back and forth with the PC talk goes, because I've talked to Slow-Mo about this, and he always throws his back. He goes, I'm watching all these people buying these new TVs for their next gen consoles, right? And they're saying PC gaming is way too expensive. It's like, you just paid $2,000 or plus for that new TV. You're going to pay $500 for a Series X. If you want to get extra memory, you're going to pay possibly the $200, right? It's like,
it's crazy.
There's your tower right there.
To be fair, you can plug in your external hard drives to store the games.
Right.
So you can plug those in, like your hard drive that's plugged into your PS4 or your Xbox One right now. You can plug that in and just say, okay, I'm going to swap games in and out, which doesn't take too long over USB 3.0 speed.
See, some people won't have problems because some people are normal and they have like 5 or 6 games installed and then they beat them and they uninstall and they reinstall a new one. I'm a bloody psychopath. I have
I was gonna say, Nick, who are these people? They are not normal.
Yeah, I was gonna say that doesn't feel right to me.
I have like 35 games installed at all times.
I literally sat there and was like, I want to play this game today. And I'd sit there and swap out my 4 hard drives. Like, which one is it installed on again? I've got like 1,000 games on Xbox One, and they're all installed on different like terabyte hard drives.
Right.
I'm like, is it this one? Click game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
or the real Hello Danger is like, we had a power surge. Ooh, please don't be dead. Don't be dead.
Right. Oh no!
Especially like PS4, it's like rebuilding hard drive, and it's like, oh god,
that scares the crap out of me every time. I'm always like, oh my god, my SSD is dead now. It's dead, and then it's like, oh, it rebuilds.
Small panic attack happening right now.
I hate that. I hate it so much. That is one reason I'm very glad we're moving to SSDs and not hard drives. Is I'm going to be happy that we have storage that if you blink at it wrong, it doesn't just go, well, today is a good day to die. We're done.
Yeah.
I literally had to. My daughter unplugged my PlayStation 4 and it corrupted my hard drive. And
no!
And she's like, "Daddy, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "I didn't lose 60 hours of Death Stranding progress. It's fine. I love it." No, it's brutal. But like, I kind of was on the fence. Like, I was sitting there because like trying to afford both these consoles, and I'm trying to build a PC. I'm like, I don't make money for this. But I have to give Xbox kudos for the Xbox All Access, which I keep waiting for them to tweak, because I'm like, so wait, I can payment plan this for 2 years with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and it costs the same amount as if I bought it. This isn't how rent to own usually works. Usually,
there's like a price break in there, isn't there? Someone did the math on that, and they found out that it was actually as cheaper to do that than to just pay it outright for everything that you get.
Well, and this is the first time where a console has launched in Canada for me, where it's not adjusted to US price. It's literally just $100 more expensive. Which, if in conversion rates, we're actually not getting screwed on it. And I'm kind of like,
when you convert, you're paying less than we are actually. UK is the same thing. When the Series S comes out, it'll be cheaper than the Switch in the UK, like $50 cheaper, or 50 euros. 50 euros cheaper. Excuse me. They use weird money overseas, but it's.
Like Canada, we're paying $80 more for the Series S. Like, we're paying $380. For context, a Xbox One X is $599 up here. After taxes, it's close to $700.
Yeah, they're doing a good job with the regional pricing, which, again, weird for Microsoft. They're not usually good about this kind of stuff, but a global launch and regional pricing, okay, good for you.
Yeah. This is the stuff that we've been screaming from the rooftops that they needed to do. And like, I kind of appreciate the fact, like, the thing that I really disliked about like Xbox prior is like, I'm in Canada. I'm literally like, I can throw rocks into the United States from where I live. And
I appreciate it.
But the problem is like 9 times out of 10, Microsoft's programs don't come to Canada. Like, we literally didn't get xCloud for till 4 months after it hit the US. It was like, we are a third world country to Xbox when it comes to programs and everything else. So it was kind of cool when Xbox All Access was announced again, because that wasn't available in Canada from my understanding. and now it's part of the other. I think what was it, 12 countries they're announced for it.
Yeah. I do know a couple people on Twitter who did not have an Xbox console actually got the Xbox One X because of that program that came out when that launched here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'll get people. I'm telling you, it's going to get people.
Oh yeah.
The insane thing about it is that the Xbox All Access program, when they first came out with that, I was like, if they did that with that, like, I didn't really understand it at that time because I was like, you can find most of the consoles on a good deal now. It kind of doesn't make sense. But I was like, if they use it for next gen, I think that's really smart. And considering the state of the economy for most people right now, it's really attractive to say, hey, here's your Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Here's your new Xbox Series X, all bundled together in 1 month, one single payment a month, instead of dropping $499 and paying for your subscription.
Yeah.
That's hella attractive to people. Like, the only reason I'll be able to day one a PS5 and an Xbox Series X now is because I'm going to payment plan my Xbox Series X. Why wouldn't I? It just makes sense right now. And I say I'll be able to day one a PS5, but if the pricing's ridiculous, I may not. PlayStation is not as friendly with regional pricing in Canada as other companies are. I'm looking at you, PSVR, for $500 with no control.
Oh, God damn.
Nick, I swear, man, I wish I would have caught that Wario deal that time when QVC had them for like $80.
Oh, my God.
I would have sent you one, man. Yeah, me too. I was like, what the? I was like, what? When did this happen?
Yeah, Nick, you guys are talking about shit that happens at like 9 o'clock at night. That shit happened at like 11:30 p.m. on a work night.
And they honored it, man. The people
I was like,
what?
so disappointed.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about a question about the all access thing. Maybe you guys can answer for me because I wasn't 100% sure on this. The drawing a blank. The Game Pass 2-year on it. That is that included, or is that like another like portion of the price that's going to be in it? So it's like where it's $499 for the X. Is there like an extra fee for?
No, that's included in your monthly payment. That's included in what you pay on the month.
Yeah. So it includes you pay for a month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and a month of the value of your console, essentially. So you're paying for 2 years of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and 2 years on the console. Basically what it is it's a way for them to get people to experience Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. People are going to use xCloud because they have it. And it's to try and get people introduced more. It's basically to take down the barriers to get people into the ecosystem, to see the widespread that they're trying to present for the ecosystem. Microsoft's pitch for next generation, because of where their game studios are at right now, is value. They're trying to throw value at you. And that's what like bundling EA Play in with Xbox Game Pass and things like that. It's about adding value so people can see that physical dollar value that they are either saving or getting for what they're paying. And that's what Microsoft's really focusing on, which is hilarious because value is the word that I've heard Jim Ryan say like 19 times in the past 6 months. Is, it's all about the value. And so far, I'm really impressed with the value that Xbox is bringing. And to touch on something that Al was talking about, I kind of watched it was interesting to watch the developer back and forth. I don't have an opinion on it because when it comes to hardware stuff, it's what me and Eric always talk about. It's real taco sauce. I have no idea what's going on when it comes to technical. Like, I literally just taught, like, I've been in the process of trying to figure out a PC build. I'm talking to people that are intelligent about it. I'm just like, hey, I want to go like 60 FPS, 4K, shooty, bang, bang. How do I do that?
I got you, Nick. Don't you worry about that.
And
I'll send you those sweet DMs later.
All right. And the thing is like, I'm not technically knowledgeable, but it's really interesting to watch the back and forth between developers about the Xbox Series S, because there's some developers going, well, we don't know how we would ever be able to work around that. And then I've got another developer going, well, we would just do this to work around it. I'm like,
yeah. You got developers who have the hardware. You got developers at DICE. They have the hardware. They're very positive about it.
Yeah.
And you have developers who don't have the hardware, like that idiot from id Software, and I love id Software games, man. Doom was fantastic, and Doom Eternal was fantastic. But this idiot was trying to say, like, Man, I was really disappointed that the consoles didn't have 128 gigabytes of RAM. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Dude?
Yeah, like I love it. I love them too, but unrealistic expectations.
Get out of the conversation.
Well, everybody at id just was like, let's face it, id Software is one of those studios that they're super hoping that like all next generation consoles were going to be supercomputers, so they're
going to be PC.
Anything back.
Yeah, it's like surprise they're not.
I love those maniacs. They but at the same time, keep in mind, this is the studio that was like, hey, how can we get Doom Eternal running at 1,000 frames per second, 4K? Oh yeah, we'll just use liquid nitrogen to cool our CPU.
Yeah.
Overclocked it well beyond what it's supposed to do. Like, I love them. They're maniacs, and I mean that in the best possible way. But I think they kind of had unrealistic expectations in terms of what we're going to get. The developers are going to work through it.
Well,
let's make the games. It's all right.
The thing that kicked me was the one guy who was super negative on it was like the guy who did that, like, what was it? It was like Trover Saves the Universe game or whatever. He was like,
thing.
He was like, how are we supposed to innovate with these tech specs? I'm like, I don't know. You didn't innovate with the hardware you have, so I don't know what you want me to tell you. But yeah, no, it's the same thing. It's like, I take developer commentary back and forth. It was kind of like the same thing as when everyone was like, well, PS5 is a super show because all these developers are saying it's amazing. I'm like, yeah, they're all PlayStation Worldwide Studios developers.
Exactly.
Of course they're going to say the PlayStation 5 is amazing. It's the same thing like when Obsidian was like, the Xbox Series X is a breeze to develop for. Of course they're going to say that.
Yeah.
Like it would say so much more about your console if like 343 or Guerrilla Games came out and went, yeah, you know what? The console we're developing for, it's shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
you want to pay attention to the big third parties. That's basically where it's at. Like the guy from DICE, I think you want to take his word for it because it's fucking DICE. Their shit runs on everything.
And work it out. Like Doom Eternal runs well on the Xbox One, which is like a piece of crap in terms of hardware compared to the other systems. Like, they'll figure it out. They'll be okay. Like, people should be very happy that we're getting next-gen consoles built around RDNA 2 with super powerful SSDs or super fast SSDs and super powerful CPUs. Like, be very happy about that. That is the unified structure for next gen.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm excited for next generation. We're going to segue into talking about the PlayStation event next week. What I'm not excited for is the next time, every time a developer sneezes and WCCF Tech writes a freaking article about PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X power speculation because the developer went, and all of a sudden it's a narrative going forward. That's why I'm so tired of it. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of the next generation talking.
Let games speak for themselves. Let games come out, and they will come out, and they will tell a story as they come out. And devs will get better with the hardware as it goes on. Like, and
something to keep in mind too. And I don't like being the one to say this. Some developers are better at developing games than others. So what one developer might find challenging, another developer might be able to work through. We have to wait and see. And let me tell you, if there's anything the Xbox Series S isn't doing right, Digital Foundry is going to find it. Mm-hmm. Same thing goes with the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. If there is anything that doesn't look right and is hampering back, Digital Foundry will report on it. But people are going to ignore it if it's not what they want to hear.
Yeah. Which by the way, I want to give a shout out to Alex and John and Rich. Like all three of those guys are excellent, and they get way too much crap from fanboys that they don't deserve. Like, they're just out there telling you what it is. That's all there is.
And they are as neutral as neutral comes. And Alex and I have a mutual respect for each other. Alex is awesome. Everybody there, John and Alex are just awesome.
I always love that. As I was watching a Digital Foundry breakdown on something, I looked down. The top rated comment was, "I wish these guys wouldn't be so biased." I'm like, these are literally the only dudes in the YouTube space where I actually trust them.
Rich like goes out of his way to like say, look, we're like, this is unbiased. This is what we're gonna do, and and like his last thing about the 380, like he actually got to try a GeForce 380 in his own PC, like the studio's PC. And he was like, genuinely honest. He's like, look, I can't take metrics of exactly what's going on, but I can tell you how much better it is than the 2080 Ti we have. And like, he's just showing you the raw data. Like, he went out of his way to like spend like a minute and a half to prove to record like his camera was hooked up to the graphics card, which was hooked up to his TV, which was, so he wasn't like trying to like play any games with anybody. Like, these guys are genuine guys, and they're just trying to look out for everybody's best interest, That's all they're trying to do is present the information as it comes forward, and everyone's coming out and say Digital Foundry is paid by so-and-so for this, or paid by for this. That's just bullshit, man. Those are awesome guys.
Yeah, I'm honestly quaking in anticipation for all the Crisis coverage from them. It's going to be amazing.
That game is going to be insane. I had no idea that they were doing ray tracing on current gen hardware at all.
I'm still not sure how they are, if I'm being honest. Like, because it's software based. They don't have any hardware. They don't have like dedicated hardware to do it. But okay,
yeah, right. I mean, there was ray tracing in like the last Gran Turismo Sport, the one for the PS4, the little one.
A handful of games have done it. Yeah, Gran Turismo Sport had it in a very mild capacity. Call of Duty Modern Warfare had it for the Shadows. And then Gears 5, I think, did it for the Shadows. So, like, a couple of games have done it, but not to the extent that Crysis.
No. Yeah, exactly. Crysis has, like, real-time reflections and a certain thing. That's pretty wild.
Well, what else is Crytek doing right now?
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't see Rise, Son of Rome 2 coming anytime soon, so I'm mad about it. I'm like the only person like that.
Maybe they're remaking Far Cry, the original.
Ooh. I'd pay money for that. I'd pay a lot.
I wish for that was not a leak or anything. I wish. Like, oh, he said it. He said it.
I'm opening the new article right now.
There you go.
But yeah, so PlayStation 5 event was announced way too early this morning. I rolled out of bed, hung over, and I was tagged in like 6 tweets going, I predicted this. I told you, Nicholas. I'm like, a dummy could have predicted this. Put my phone down, tried to unhang over myself, and then consume the content from there. But yeah, so PlayStation 5 event, it's going to be 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. They didn't specifically mention price and everything else, which makes me super, super interested. I would love. No, I know this is not going to happen. Under no circumstances will this happen. But if they did a full teardown of the console and everything else, and are like, we'll talk to you about price soon, and just left it like that, oh my God. I would laugh, because it's not even because of my own joy. I just like watching people on Twitter suffer.
I would die. I would literally die and replicate this on Twitter, and Nick would be laughing at my videos that I'd be posting.
But it's gonna be there. Let's be real.
No, like we're gonna get the console teardown. We're gonna get the price. We're gonna get pre-orders, because there's no way stockholders are sitting there going, okay, 2 months pre-order numbers. Let's go.
I think it's going to be launch games, pre-order date, pre-order price, launch date, end of the show. And everyone's like, oh, Final Fantasy 16 is going to be there. Oh, God of War 2 is going to be there. Oh, don't bank on those. Don't bank on those being there.
Okay, so let's do some dream shattering here, like right off the bat. Even if hypothetically, I keep hearing about Final Fantasy 16. And they're like, they're going to show it. They're going to show it. It was supposed to be shown at the last State of Play, or so everyone told me. Did not happen. Even if Final Fantasy 16 is revealed, it is not coming anytime soon. Like, can we stop expecting Square Enix to deliver things in a timely manner? That's number one.
People are a little crazy to not see between the lines with the Project Athia trailer we got.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember what happened with Final Fantasy 15? Wasn't it a project something else? Wasn't it like Versus or some shit like that, like a billion years ago?
It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Final Fantasy 15 began life as Final Fantasy Versus 13, which was going to be like this multiverse project of a spin-off of Final Fantasy 13 in an alternate universe, but also this and it gets confusing. That didn't happen is the point, and it became Final Fantasy 15. I kind of wondered the same thing. I wondered, is Project Athia going to morph into Final Fantasy 16? But as of late, I'm backing off from that. I think Final Fantasy 16 does actually get announced. That doesn't mean it's coming soon, but I do think that is getting announced.
I'm of two minds with this. It'll say volumes to me if like there's this and everyone really needs to stop reading into every single thing Cory Barlog tweets. He is not like absolutely anytime he tweets something, everyone's like God of War 2, God of War 2, God of War 2. Just leave the poor man alone and let him have a life outside of that game.
Especially since he's not the one directing God of War 2.
Yeah, he even said that.
And, people need to realize that Cory Barlog's next game is not related to God of War 2. It's related to a sci-fi thing that he's been wanting to make for the last 15 years.
Yeah. Let that man make his passion project.
If that's what it's going to be. Yeah, let him do what he wants to do.
Yeah. So
I don't know what that is. But
God of
not
War.
God of War, yeah.
Yeah, like if they show God of War 2, I would shit my pants. God of War is like my favorite PlayStation IP. One of my favorites. God of War 2018, one of my favorite PlayStation games of this generation. But do not do the E3 of Dreams thing again. Please do not show me a trailer for
The Last Guardian.
Do not show me a trailer for a game that's not ready to come out for another 4 years or 3 years or
Cool Spot 2 coming out.
Yeah, so here's the thing. They said it's mostly focused on launch games or games coming like a few months after launch. So we'll talk about that. But I think I'm not saying God of War 2 gets announced. I'm just saying if there's one game that they break the rule for, I can see it being God of War 2. Like
not The Last of Us Part 3?
Really? Yeah, I was going to say like an updated version of Last of Us 2 doesn't strike anyone's fancy.
I mean, I'll take it. I'm just not convinced it's happening.
Yeah.
I
know. All the multiplayer is happening, but we just don't know.
The multiplayer is happening, but that's not Last of Us Part 2 anymore. That's its own thing, which is kind of confusing. Like maybe those games get updates, maybe they don't. I hope they do. I really hope they do. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm just saying, like, if I'm Sony and my own bias, because again, God of War is my favorite PlayStation IP. Love 2018 game. Love that game to death. If there's one far off game I announce, it's God of War 2. But that doesn't mean it'll happen. I'm just thinking out loud here. I think realistically, we're focused more on like probably Miles Morales. That makes sense because that's supposedly launch. Although I'm not actually convinced that's launch day anymore. I think that might be like December.
Yeah, maybe. Early December. I'm thinking it's early December too.
Which is a holiday game. I think it's the holiday game.
They've always said early, holiday or December. I think some sites were saying December, but it definitely was holiday 2020.
Yeah, which is fine by me. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
I think we get more firm release dates for Ratchet, Spider-Man, Gran Turismo 7, games that have been shown already. But, maybe not all of them hit launch day, but at least we know.
A time window, so to speak. Like, this is the launch window content.
Yeah.
Me and Sam can finally settle this bet about Demon Souls, which is going to be great when I win.
Blue Point always announced that they were going to have a game day and date the PS5 release. So, I mean, this has got to be it, right?
You still so sure about that bet, Nick?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Run that money right into the ground.
I'm not saying I know either way. I'm just saying. I hope
for anyone who doesn't know, Nick and I made a bet. I bet that Demon Souls, it was what, a $10 gift card?
25.
Ooh,
25.
Big
25,
money.
Yeah, it's 25. I bet that Demon Souls would be a launch game for the PS5. He bet that it was not. And we agreed, if I remember correctly, Nick, that for the terms of this, it didn't have to hit at the launch of the PS5, but it has to hit in 2020. That's what we agreed, right?
I have to go back and check audio footage, but
that's a good bet. I would take Sam's side on that.
I want to say the terms are if it slips to 2021, Nick wins. If it hits in 2020 at launch or like a couple of weeks afterwards, then I win. I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. And I'm looking forward to it. Like that's going to be an amazing game. That's going to be an absolutely amazing game.
I wonder how they're going to do world tendencies. Are they going to do the same thing? Or are they going to change that?
So, did you see the leaked Amazon Australia listing?
No.
Okay, the leaked listing confirmed that multiplayer is back in. For anyone who
Yeah.
doubted, because there were people who doubted,
Okay.
multiplayer is back in. It did not mention World Tendency.
Oh my God, that would make the
So-
game 100 times better.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm wondering if it's optional because the original listing for the game on YouTube that was deleted, and they edited the description of the YouTube channel, said that it featured something called fractured mode. So I'm wondering if there's like an option to play it the way it originally came out with World Tendency, or like, hey, there's a new version that doesn't do any of that nonsense, and it's just more straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. I know fractured mode exists. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. For people who don't know in the podcast or are listening, World Tendency mode is sometimes if you were to get killed when someone was invading you or vice versa and you died multiple times, a lot like Dragon Rot in Sekiro, the world would get harder. Things would just become more aggressive towards you and make the game really a pain in the dick to play. And I love Demon Souls, but man, if you died a lot, it really, really kicked you in the groin multiple times as you were dying.
It was somehow more newcomer friendly than Dark Souls was, which is saying something. Like,
so without that, I think it would improve and actually be better for getting more people to play it, because as they have the game packaged now, I mean, you've seen the package art. I don't know if that's final or not, but it makes it look like it's a third-person action game, not a hardcore action RPG.
It said non-final.
Yeah,
but
it is.
But still.
It is up there, though, as far as the From Software games, and I love From Software games. Bloodborne is probably my second or third favorite game of all time. It is super fucking hard compared to Bloodborne.
Well, I'm going to go buy a claw hammer before I play Demon Souls, because we know exactly where I'm hanging myself with that claw hammer before I play Demon Souls.
Nick, we are dragging you in, and there's
no.
You gotta get it. You gotta get it. It's a good game. It's a good game, but I'm just saying.
I'm not paying like $100 Canadian to get beaten. I was going to pay $100 Canadian to get beaten.
Co-op.
I could pay a hooker to do that for me.
Whoa. Nick, calm down. There's co-op. There's jolly
Good.
co-op.
Someone can carry me.
We can take you through it. Sam and I can take you through the game.
All right, perfect. I'm hopping in the backpack. I'm Yodaing this shit right to the bank.
It's a good game. Like, there's a reason it's a cult classic. There really is. It has a gothic tone that none of the other games really have. Even Bloodborne. And I love Bloodborne.
Oh yeah.
I love Bloodborne so much. But
From Software is just on point so much with so many good things.
Oh yeah. But no, I think we agree Demon Souls hits around launch, right? Regardless of whether it's this year or next year. It's not going to be
first 6 months guaranteed. Like
Yeah.
I think that's close. I think Miles is right on, if not close.
Yeah.
I think Ratchet is close.
Oh yeah, I mean they've set Ratchet's launch window, so Ratchet is probably like
within
March.
90 days. Yeah.
I think it's a little further than that. I think it's like March next year.
What is like I meant to actually DM you, Sam. What is the actual quote unquote launch window? I keep seeing that word, but there's
Infamous Second Son was considered a launch window game. That came out 6 months after the PlayStation 4 release.
Titanfall was too. Titanfall for the Xbox One, which came out in April. Or was it March?
It came out in March along with Dark Souls 2.
Yes,
there's some trivia for you folks.
Yeah, same day. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, it was the same day as
I was the only idiot picking up Dark Souls along with Titanfall. Line of people picking up Titanfall.
I remember because I remember going to my GameStop. Now that you mentioned that, Al, in 2014, and like it was me and like 4 other people picking up Dark Souls 2, and then this long line of people picking up Titanfall.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah.
Titanfall's a good game. I like Titanfall. Yeah. But no. So like Nick, to answer your question, it's 6 months. It's up to a 6 month period. Okay. So when they say launch window, it could hit in April, and that's still like, let's be real, that's still a good solid 6 months. If that
I'm not one of these people. Like I seem to see like the anecdotals all the time of people being like, well, you need like 7 games at launch. I don't know about you guys, but like I can't play 7 games at once.
No.
Like I'd be good with a good game for launch day, and then 3 weeks later, give me another game, and then 3 weeks later, give me another game. Like that would be great. But I understand people have different tastes. Not everyone has great taste like myself in games.
Well, the best third-party game this year is probably going to be Cyberpunk, but that's just me. And that comes out around the same time that these consoles launch. Not saying that the next-gen launch upgrade is going to be their day and date, but I'm pretty sure it's going to look pretty awesome on whatever you're going to play it on. So you got that going for you. You got the new Assassin's Creed game. And like I said, I have my indifferences with Ubisoft as a company, but that studio made a phenomenal game in Assassin's Creed Origins. And I love Vikings. So how is that game going to be terrible?
Exactly.
That I have good faith in. So, I mean, those are third-party games. I'm even talking about first-party stuff. So those two alone, that's awesome.
Yakuza's going to be there.
Yakuza, of course.
Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War.
The new Call of Duty looks awesome too because they're going back to the roots, man. They're going back to the old school multiplayer.
It's that week is going to be packed. That week is going to be very packed.
I'm gonna be so broke. You guys have no idea.
Well, yeah, because you got to buy like the 3090 too, don't you?
Next week. Well, no. That comes out September 24th. But
okay.
If I can get it. If I get my back hazard pay, that's the plan. If not, then I'm just quote unquote going to settle for a 3080.
Just a 30.
I want to get a 3090, but if the hazard pay doesn't come in, there's no way because I'm definitely getting a PS5. I want to get a Series X and I want to upgrade my computer, but if I don't get that back hazard pay, I really can't afford to do that. And I know that sounds like such a first world problem right there. But I have to get a PS5, and yes, I have to get an Xbox.
Hey, I feel you on that because we were supposed to have our work through COVID dangers pay or whatever the hell it was. They were supposed to pay it all out in the end of the summer, and then my company got bought out by another company. So they're like, we're going to just bundle it with your holiday bonus, which is going to come in November. I'm like, good, because I'm going to need a ton of money in November.
Balling. Hopefully good things. Yeah, mine's supposedly going to be pretty awesome. So hopefully everyone's is.
I always get really super fishy about like when corporate's like it's a really good bonus. I'm like, what's your definition of good? You drive a Tesla, I drive a Hyundai.
$35 later, it was a good bonus.
Can buy a case of beer for that.
Yes,
Eric, I'm curious. What are you really looking at in terms of like which PS5 games you think make launch, which ones don't? Like any in terms of, is there anything you vehemently disagree with us on like so far? Or is there something or?
No, I think if we're throwing darts at a board, I think we're all landing probably in that same place without really having anything concrete. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's quite possible some of the things you got throughout could be on the launch day, and then, like you said, or a launch window, right? So let me just throw two hypotheticals at you.
Okay.
Oh, love it.
Right. And Al, we've already kind of chatted about this, right? But what if like I'm just throwing up air quotes, the rumored Bloodborne remaster hits both PC and PS5 like in that launch day?
Yeah. I might actually play Bloodborne, but it's not going to be in the filmic 27 frames.
No.
So that's
Eric
one hypothetical.
Eric and just to go like 30 seconds off of what Eric's saying. Yeah, that's a real thing actually happening. So there's a PC port of Bloodborne coming along with a PS5 port. We just don't know when.
Right.
I was going to talk to you guys after the podcast, but because Eric dropped the ball and threw me under the bus.
No.
That's cool. But seriously, that's a real thing that's going to happen. We just don't know when. So
that's for that. That is kind of like for Sony the Metroid Prime trilogy in terms of it happens, but when does
we can do it whenever the hell we want to? Yeah.
Exactly. That's interesting. That's interesting, Eric. The only issue I have with it is I feel like that's highly redundant if you've got Demon Souls at launch.
That's I was thinking about that.
But what if you don't have Demon Souls?
Right. That's what I was thinking. What if it's months away?
I like this method of thinking now.
if Demon Souls like Eric, if Eric's onto something, if Demon Souls is March or June of next year, and you have Bloodborne ready to launch, people are going to be like, fuck it, I'll buy fucking Bloodborne again. Hell yeah, 60
Right.
frames a second. Woo,
I mean,
watch
I
that
will.
money fly.
I will, to be clear. It's just we'll see. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
Yeah.
but what was your other,
I agree.
what was your other hypothetical, Eric?
Well,
especially
hey,
if they say, you know, like if you already own Bloodborne,
Mhm.
it's just, you know, you get the upgrade and you're off and running type of thing.
Oh
But
my God.
that still kind of flies into the whole, hey, launch stuff. You know,
Mhm.
if you don't have it and you just coming into the PS5, or if you were in PS4, you know, so it kind of hits all those little notes. And then at the same time, you're saying, hey, PC crowd, here you go.
Man, if Bloodborne and Demon Souls launch within three months of each other, the guy at Home Depot is really going to be wondering why I'm buying so many claw hammers.
Hey, I have a crazy like situation. How come Sony has been so quiet about backwards compatibility with the PS4? Now we know the backwards compatibility with, well, we don't know. Ubisoft spilled the beans that PS1 to PS3 was not compatible with it. How come Sony hasn't come out of the woodwork and say, well, no, this is compatible, and what are these improvements you're going to be on your former software? Like, does anyone find that a little strange other than me?
No, I definitely do. Like, I was looking forward to like God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Death Stranding, all those games getting enhancements.
Yeah, and a couple of those games offer like uncapped frame rates, like God of War.
Sure, but like, let's. I'm not saying it's not happening. It's just I'm now tempering my expectations. I am now
me too. Yeah,
because I think the only ones that feel safe to bet on are Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. Like, you have to enhance them, right?
Yeah.
In theory. Like, Ghost of Tsushima has the Legends multiplayer coming out for free this fall.
Yeah.
So that would be really good time to drop a PS5 patch for it.
yeah.
Well,
but like,
you know what?
I don't, to your point out, I don't have much hope beyond that. Like, they're not doing what Microsoft is doing. To be clear, don't expect anything like that.
No, because they're going to do the remake engine. Trust in the remake engine.
Oh my god.
The remake engine.
It's good. You just pop a PlayStation 1 disc in there, it's instantly going to be a PS5 game.
Stop
Bet.
it.
Even in the discless model. I don't know how it would work, but it would work.
Invisible disc.
Invisible disc. No. I think they need to clarify that. And I kind of wonder if they might talk about that at this event. Because, like, or even in a blog post, like, they've got to show it off to some degree. Like Xbox, I feel, has been like slamming my face off of a desk with Gears 5. Because, like, I love Gears 5. And they're like, hey, look how good it is on our next console. And I love that because I'm a Gears fan. So I'm kind of waiting for Sony to, like, grab me by the hair and smash my face off the desk with something I love from them. Because there's a ton of games I would love to re-experience again. And with, you know, like ray tracing and all this stuff that's coming along with these new consoles, I'm not going to say it's the PC experience, because the PC experience is like way up there, especially with the new cards coming out and everything else. But this is going to be the closest thing consoles have had to that PC experience. And there's a ton of games from Sony. Like, I would love to go back and play some of their games at like 60 frames and up, or
Uncharted 4 and Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
God
yeah.
damn, please.
Last of Us Part 2 with that combat at 60 frames per second.
Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm. Let me throw that one other hypothetical at you. It's something we've already discussed here before, and it's kind of been thrown around. But again, Resistance. Why do you keep showing this game?
Oh my God.
And teasing this game if you're not doing something with it?
Resistance 3 is so good.
Once a day, every other day, like, they're tweeting about it constantly. Like, hey, Resistance, #Resistance, smiley face. Do you remember?
Wink, wink.
Like, okay, enough.
It's like, why do you keep pinching my ass? What are you doing over here? You know? So,
hey, you guys like Resistance?
Right. Got some of that resistance over here. So it's sort of like, wouldn't that kind of make sense to be like maybe even a cross-gen game, like a PS4, PS5, but still launched?
Yeah. I don't like, I agree with you 100%, but how much more can Sony lean on Insomniac Games to carry the PS5 to glory?
Honestly, right there, they have 2 games within the launch window. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, Insomniac, like people like I know
Hey, Nick.
everyone sings the praises of Naughty Dog and everything else, but Insomniac is the PlayStation studio. Period. End of story.
When you only have a running back, you keep feeding him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something the Dallas Cowboys can't figure out.
He's got 75 carries a game and no knees, but you keep working him.
I want Resistance Trilogy, and like I would actually be more happy with Resistance Trilogy if it wasn't cross-gen. Just redo it in PS5 only. I just
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that game is so amazing. Now I want to throw two little like things that probably would never happen, but it'd be kind of cool.
It's 2020, man. Never say never.
Yeah, you don't say never.
Oh, God.
Two things that we've been hearing about. Well, one thing we heard about and we haven't heard about, like where the doodle is Babylon's Fall. Like, what is Platinum Games doing?
Not Among Us. That's where.
And number two, Guerrilla's been working on a new IP for a while now.
Yeah.
And like they picked up a new game director from the Rainbow Six Siege team in like 2018.
It's a shooter.
It's got to be a competitive shooter. It's a tactical shooter. I kind of hope they're just going to revive SOCOM, or it's going to be like Ubisoft with Riders Republic, and they're like, it's not SOCOM, but wink, wink, it's SOCOM.
As long as it isn't Killzone, I'm okay.
Oh. I love Killzone 2. Then just let it go after that. Let it spread its wings and fly away. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that they've been eyeing the idea of doing a new SOCOM. I've heard of them eyeing the idea of doing a new MAG. I've heard of them making it an entirely new Killzone, just rebooting the franchise, calling it Killzone. I don't know what they're doing, but those are three things that I have heard from good sources. So.
Hey, not all Killzone is bad Killzone, because Killzone Mercenaries is really good.
Yes.
No, Shadowfall left a very bad.
Shadowfall
Yeah.
is a whole different thing.
Shadowfall remains, fun fact, the only game to ever induce motion sickness in me. It's the only
wow.
It's the only one that ever did it. I got a motion sickness headache from it.
It was such a beautiful, terrible game, though.
Yeah.
Legitimately, it's the only game I bought for $4 and I felt ripped off.
Oh man.
I bought my PlayStation 4 in 2017. I bought 3 games with it. I bought Horizon Zero Dawn because I bought it at launch. I didn't like Horizon Zero Dawn. That was a kick in the nuts.
Oh man. No.
And then I bought 2 other games at Pawn Shop for $4 each. I bought Killzone, Shadowfall, and I bought The Order 1886 because I had a friend tell me those were 2 really good games. I could find them cheap. I'm not friends with that guy anymore.
Good game.
The Order was phenomenal. I was like, this is great. I wish.
And then you got done playing, and you're like, was that the prologue?
Yeah. No, I finished the cliffhanger. I was like, okay, so when we doing the sequel? And everyone's like, it's not getting one. I'm like, what?
And now they make games for Facebook.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Such a good developer, though. Man, that was such a good.
I'm not gonna lie, that one hurt. When I saw that, I was like, this one stings. This ain't right. You goofed, Sony. You goofed.
Those guys were so technically above anybody. They were above Naughty Dog at the time. You have to look at that game, and then look at what happened with what was going on in that year. They were so far ahead of everybody. And
they just needed a few other components of like game making, like some people that knew how to put all that together. Because technically they were there.
Yeah.
The gameplay was cool. All they literally really needed to do was cut down on the QTEs and reinvent a couple of the boss fights, and you could have made a hell of a sequel because the world building in that was phenomenal. And the way the cover worked, you could have tacked on a multiplayer mode, and it could have been Sony's Gears of War. Honestly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because the weapons in that game are awesome.
The weapons were sick. Arc weapon and then the incendiary round thing.
Yeah, man.
The thermite gun or the shotgun.
Yeah,
or like
it made sense. Yeah,
taking a guy's arm off with the lightning gun, like.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, dude, you got Tesla as your weapons master.
That's it.
That's sick. That's crazy.
That's all right, though. Nick, I also feel your pain. I did not like Horizon Zero Dawn the first time I played it. So
what the? Okay.
Hey, now. Whoa.
He found
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. 3 or 4 weeks ago when it came out on PC, I gave it a second shot. I like the game.
Yeah.
All right.
See, I've got to go back and play it again because I came.
My problem was I played Breath of the Wild first. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. See, my problem was I came off of I can't remember. I came off of 2 open world games and then went to Horizon Zero Dawn. I got about 5 hours in. And I was like, oh, these characters make me want to kill myself, and I boogied out of the game. And everyone's like, it gets really good after 5 hours. I'm like, oh.
No, but that open world fatigue can definitely hinder how you feel about things too, man. For real. Now,
I've really learned that over the past few years. Cycling games is like super important to the enjoyment. It's like if I play a really long RPG, I'm like, okay, a couple of short games, throw a Telltale game in there or something.
You need like a palette. You need a palette cleanser. Yeah,
you have to do that. Yeah. Like I've been playing a lot of short action. Not to sidetrack, but like it's very similar to this. But I've been playing like a lot of short like shoot 'em up games, like Xenocrisis and Ikaruga. Radiant Silvergun, and then I just got back into the new what's that new game from Tell Me Why?
Yeah.
God, so beautiful. And I'm just like, oh my God, 2 episodes in, I'm just like, oof, this is exactly what I needed because it's like a long, stretched out, way more narrative driven thing. It's awesome.
Yeah. I enjoyed Life is Strange. I presume you played Life is Strange as
well.
Yeah. But like this honestly, in terms of technical stuff, feels better to me. Like it looks it looks gorgeous. I love the small town Alaska setting. It's a very warm, homey vibe, and like there's still some supernatural stuff going on. Like there's still like the twins interact, but I like the character focus. I like just the drama. And how do I put this? Don't Nod is very good at writing characters that's like life is complicated. People aren't just good or bad. Like some people have messed up things about them, but they still love you, or some people aren't messed up, but they actually hate you. And like, that's how life goes. They're very good at that. I'm halfway through the second episode. I didn't get to finish it. I want to finish it tomorrow, or maybe Monday, whenever I get a brief chance with all the work going on. But Tell Me Why is really good.
Let me ask you, Sam, did you play Life is Strange 2?
I have not played Life is Strange 2.
You did now?
I hear it's good. I hear it's very good.
Because from what you just said about the life is complicated thing, it's kind of amazing, like watching like Don and I kind of go on this track, because with Life is Strange, it was very much like teen angst, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so I know some people some people were like, I can't do this shit because I deal with this all the time.
Nick laughing up there. They drop hella literally. Hella every other paragraph, he's laughing up there.
Right.
But, hey, I mean, teen life is cringe. Like that's how it is.
But they had a little too many 80s pop culture references for me, who was a little kid in the late 70s and early 80s, and I don't even use these pop culture references.
It was very much like being in like CW shows.
Yeah,
right?
very much.
And maybe they got that. It was good. It was really good. I love those games. I love that. But it seems like somewhere in there, I don't know if they had a meeting and they got some feedback or whatever the case may be. Because when you got the Life is Strange 2, it was a whole different thing.
It was more serious.
Yeah. So Sam, I'm saying if you go back and play that, and like I said, I can't speak a whole lot on Tell Me Why because I have to get back to it. But hearing what you said about that, I'm like, wow, yeah, that means that they really tapped into this thing. Like you said, life is complicated. There's gray area. And so many people have this notion that everything is black and white, and it really isn't. And they really leaned into that, like in Life is Strange 2, like the complications of things. And then on top of that too, it has great Easter eggs and callbacks to Life is Strange 1. Some really cool stuff. So they really got a good thing storytelling wise going on.
I feel like a turd because I can't remember the main characters of Life is Strange 2, but the boys, the brothers were just they're written so well.
Wasn't David and
it sounds like the polar opposite of Detroit Become Human.
I'm drawing. I feel bad. I'm drawing a blank too because
Life is Strange
Daniel, and
that's it, Daniel,
and the older brother. I can't think.
Yeah. Anyways, those characters are phenomenal.
Yep.
But Tell Me Why, their characters are up there.
Yeah. because Sam, they have characters in that, like as you get into the later story that are exactly what you're explaining. Like first glance at them, they're like you think they're scumbags, but they're some of the most humble, great people, you know, who love and connect. And then you do meet some scumbags.
Yep.
Who are like, you know,
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Big
Like,
time.
I don't know when I'll fit in. I do want to go back and play Life is Strange too, because I don't think it sold very well, but I've heard incredible things from you and other people. But like, play and tell me why. I'm not going to spoil anything, but in the first episode, I'm like, okay, so it's clearly XYZ, and like, nope, not at all.
Right. Yeah,
find out
gets flipped.
time. You find out big time, like, crap's complicated. That's all. That is a very good reminder that I think people should be accepting more about more people. Is like, it's not simple. You can't put people into the good or bad box.
And I think that's what separates Don't Nod from Telltale is I think Telltale never really learned with their games of having a gray area. With Telltale, there was always a vehemently good option and bad option.
You know what? And this isn't like to shoot down Telltale because, you know, I still love like Wolf Among Us and stuff. But as I thought about it, I said Telltale is the licensed lunchbox of a developer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, this lunchbox is really cool, but it's not very
risks.
functional. Right? There's no risk. Like,
risk at all.
Hey, the kids like Knight Rider, and the kids like Star Wars, and the kids like, you know, Walking Dead. It's like,
they love Batman. We'll just
the
give
kids
them a
love
Batman.
Batman.
I mean, that's the reason Wolf Among Us is their best game, is because it was a risk. It was like, okay, kids have read the Fables comics.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Most adults haven't read them. They're great comics, by the way.
Absolutely.
But
until Once Upon a Time stole the idea after ABC turned down doing Fables.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was sitting there watching, not just sidetrack, watching Once Upon a Time with my wife. And I was like,
yeah, my wife loved that show.
Like, this is
and that's what I said. I was like, wait a minute.
And then I
playing
learned
this right now.
Yeah, and then I learned that they actually pitched Fables to ABC and they thought it was too risky.
Wow.
And they basically they just lifted it. So
ABC.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to ABC. They screwed over Kevin Smith too with Clerks.
Oh, snap.
So
don't screw over Kevin Smith. Period.
Yeah.
Goddamn national treasure.
Yep, he is. But anyway, didn't mean to sidetrack, but
no, it's a good sidetrack. Like,
but that was like I think the difference between, you know, Don't Nod and Telltale is Telltale never set out to make their own story and IP, which I think instead of just licensing and everything, you know, it's like they hit with Walking Dead, because Back to the Future didn't really light the world on fire, I guess.
Yeah, the last two episodes are really good, but everything else you didn't have to play.
Right.
And that's fucked up, but it's true.
Yeah. And then they hit hard with like Walking Dead, and it was like it was on from there. It was like a landslide, you know.
Yeah, I don't think anything will ever touch. Like, I remember I didn't even buy it. My girlfriend bought the Walking Dead game on my Xbox 360. I remember getting really mad at her because I was a Call of Duty dude bro at the time. And I was like, I don't want to play this emotional crap. Who wants to play this garbage? And I'm sitting there at like 2:30 in the morning the day after it installed, crying. Why? Why does it make me feel feelings? And it's a huge part of what made me branch out into like a wider breadth of games, and I'm kind of grateful for that. But like, I think my breaking point with Telltale Games was like the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, I played the first episode and I was like,
no,
I'm gone.
I think for
I
think Borderlands. Yeah, Borderlands and Wolf Among Us were the best ones that they did.
Yeah. Borderlands is great.
I hate Borderlands, but love Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
I
did play the Game of Thrones one. I was kind of like,
okay.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
it is what it is.
The Game of Thrones one was like being like, it's like, hey, this is a really cool story that's being told, and you're a cousin of a guy who's important in this.
Yes, and everybody you like is going to die in this game, so you got to choose who dies first.
Yeah, and my outcome, I was like, really? I'm not good at the Game of Thrones. Because my outcome was not very nice. I was like, okay. Right.
You know, Nick and Eric, I guess, and Sam too, speaking of Telltale and The Walking Dead, I have a distributor that I get parts for aircraft from Macon, Georgia, and every time I see that, I'm like, oh, Macon, Georgia. That's where they go in Walking Dead. I always remember the fucking game. I'm like, no, Clementine, no, Clem. And all of my coworkers look at me like I'm fucking crazy, and I'm actually saying this out loud. I'm like, oh no.
Nice.
Every time I see Macon, Georgia, I always remember.
Right.
Like, oh man,
It's burned into the brain.
that's where Lee's family was from.
It's like Lee.
Lee,
Such
damn
a
it.
good guy.
Oh man, I guess we will wrap it up here because we're about to hit the 2-hour mark here.
Oh,
so
man.
we will do outros and everything else. So I'd like to thank Al for coming on. It's been a blast.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
It's actually great to have someone on this podcast that's just as unfiltered as I am. It's great. Love it. We'll have to do it again sometime. So if people wanted to find you, where could they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter if you want. I don't really care. I don't care about that shit. But if you want, it's at alcoholocaust.com, or you can just type in The Drunk Cat and do a Google search. And you'll probably find when I posted the picture of the PS5 development kit as a hilarious meme for everybody, which ended up being real. Yeah, that's it. That's it. You don't have to follow me, though. You should follow these guys instead.
No, Al's a great follow. And you know, it's so funny, like after you posted that with the PS5 dev kit, people saying, that would look kind of hot, actually. They made it look like that. I'm like, what the hell are you people talking about? It's like, man, who's gonna know? Stop it. I'm like, it looks like a model for like an apartment building. It's like,
All
stop
right.
it.
So hold on. We got a question in the chat. We got to do this before we go in.
Oh.
Final prediction for PlayStation 5 price. I'm holding fast because I already made this prediction with Sam. I got him to screenshot it. And if I get it 100% right, man, I'm going to be flinging my dick down Twitter.
Wow.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Chris Evans tormented.
My original prediction price before we got the Xbox prices, and I'll stick to it. I think it's going to be different than the outcome now, but my original price point was PS5 with disc drive was going to be $549 and discless was going to be $499. Now with the Xbox stuff coming out first, I feel like that'll change, but I will stick to my guns on that. What about you guys?
Al, you want to go?
Sure. I'll say my prediction, which has stayed the same since I think, November last year. PS5 with a disc drive, $549. PS5 digital, $449. A solid $100 cheaper. But we'll see. That's my guess.
Okay, Sam.
Okay, here's what. Can I cheat and say what I want it to be and what I think it'll be?
Of course.
Okay. I want it to be $499 for the disc drive and $399 for the
Oh
disc.
man, I wish.
I want that to be the case. Like if that's the case, super cool. Even though I'm not gonna get the discless because I simply have PS4 disc, so I'm gonna get the one with the disc drive.
Mhm.
But like I'm locked in. It is what it is. But I want it to be that. My gut, for some freaking reason, is telling me to expect $549 on the disc and $499 on the discless. Maybe with what's happened, like with the Xbox Series S pricing, maybe even $499 on disc, but $449 on the discless. I think even that maybe if they
See that's kind of where, like, if I was to go with like what I want is I'm kind of want like the PS5 disc for $499 is fine. It's the digital that's my swing of, is it $50 cheaper? Is it $100 cheaper after the leaks? But like I said, I'll stick to my original $549 and $499. Eric.
I'm gonna go completely. I won't say the opposite, but I'm gonna go ahead and stay and say I think they're going to try to match Xbox at $499 for the disc.
Nice.
And $450. And I know I keep seeing people saying that nobody except Nintendo does the. I'm like, it's things change.
Yeah,
Isn't
I
it?
mean, they just announced their big event on a Saturday morning.
Right.
Old rules don't apply. You can't
Right.
go back
There is no rule.
There's no rules.
Which is the funny thing, Sam, because people always say they don't. People act like they don't want things to change, but then they always want things to change, and then they don't want things to change, and then it's like,
Of course.
there's no hard and fast rule that says they can't do it at 450, and I think that's where they're going to go. That's just me personally.
So you're betting on $4.99 and $4.49.
Yeah, because I don't see the discless being $100 cheaper. Because again, it's like that whole thing where that doesn't really make any sense,
Like, I mean, again, there's a difference between what they could do and what they would do. It's like, could you do that? Sure, but that's an uncomfortable loss that you're not making up for a while. We'll see.
Yeah, because let's be honest here. They're like Microsoft is taking a loss on both those consoles. I truly believe that.
Oh, they are. They're taking a loss. They're taking a bigger loss on the Series S than they are the X.
Yeah. So if Microsoft is taking a loss
on the X, they're taking a medium-sized loss on the S.
If Microsoft is taking losses, I definitely won't rule out Sony playing the loss game, especially with how much digital copies both manufacturers are selling now versus the digital copies they were selling in the PS3 and Xbox 360 generation. But shareholders do not like playing money equivalency. So it legitimately comes down to what the shareholders want and how the company itself is able to pitch that idea to their shareholders. So we will wait and see. And I'm excited. I don't give a crap.
And can I answer, like Verinda said, like deeper pockets for MS, and that is absolutely true. But again, when you're dealing with shareholders, it doesn't matter how much money the company makes. They don't ever want to hear that we're going to take a loss on anything.
No, shareholders don't like that.
So when you go in and say we're going to do this, yes, we're going to take a hit, but you cast the forecast that says we'll make it up with this. You have to have that follow. You can't just say, we're going to just take the hit because we love people.
I work for a massive company. We took a 1% loss due to COVID. The first 2 months of COVID hitting, we took a 1% loss. They cut 5,000 employees and cut hours down by everyone went down to basically part time.
It's going to come from somewhere.
It's going to come from somewhere. So don't assume companies are about losing money.
Doesn't matter how much the war chest is, they're going to get it back somewhere, and it always sucks if it comes down to the employee. But they're going to keep the shareholder happy.
That's every company. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Ubisoft, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, whatever. You can't say screw your shareholders because you don't got shareholders. Well,
yeah,
you're in a different place. So we'll do our regular panel outros. Sam, where can people find and stalk you?
Yeah, come yell at me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's Tolbert. Happy to talk to you. And then obviously you can find what I write on Windows Central and Android Central and iMore. Busy. We are in crunchy mode right now. There's I'm just happy this price standoff is all I don't care. Tell me your console's $700. Just let me know what it is. At this point, I'm done. I'm drained. I'm happy that we're finally getting a move on here. So,
yep. No more speculation. People can just argue about dollar bills now. Eric, where can people find you?
Or confusion.
Oh,
good Lord. You can find me on Twitter, EC Jackson with an X. Tooling around there, making stupid tweets and attaching, videos to them. Other than that, Saturday nights here with you guys, and Wednesday nights Brat Podcast 9:00.
Absolutely. I'm Nicholas Downey. You can follow me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. It is exactly 18 days till Baldur's Gate 3. So 18 days until I'm an absolutely insufferable human being playing on Google Stadia.
Oh my God, man! Poor Nick.
Wow. So
what's that?
Things we do for love.
You said it's 18 days until you're an unsufferable human being, but
yes,
I thought that was already going on, so I'm a little confused.
Damn.
Wow. So that was Sam on the podcast. He's going to be replaced next week. I believe Sam is going the way of Kotaku UK, unfortunately. You're being downsized. I will find someone else from the Carolinas to fill in your role. P.S. It's Ivan. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Undead3XVI. You can find all my written work at lordsofgaming.net. I've got some cool Baldur's Gate 3 stuff coming out. Got some Xbox stuff coming out. I've got reviews coming out. I don't sleep. I hate my life. So yeah, stay tuned for that stuff. Thanks everyone for stopping in and checking us out. We are now just, I believe, 5 subscribers away from 100. So appreciate all you guys that tune in every week. It's an absolute pleasure to talk games with these guys. And we'll hopefully talk to you guys again next weekend, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And don't forget, you can also check us out on Spotify and your favorite podcasting apps.